Hello everyone, welcome to SwitchUp. We've got another review for you today, this time of Chicory, A Colourful Tale. This was written for us by Sophie over at SaveDex Gaming, and while Sophie has co-written reviews for us with husband Dave before, I think I'm right in saying this is her first ever individual review for us, and as you'll see, she's done a great job. Please do check out SaveDex Gaming, link to their channel is in the top pinned comment. Chicory, A Colourful Tale is a top-down action adventure story where painting the world is the name of the game. It promises 10 plus hours of gameplay, 100 plus animal characters to meet and some puzzles utilising the painting mechanics. So is Chicory something you can get a kickery out of, or should you colour me disappointed? Well, thank you to the publishing team for the review code, and now let's find out. You take control of your character, a dog artfully named after your favourite food. Mine was pizza and Dave's was cucumber, as I had already taken pizza. You are the janitor of the tower owned by Chicory, the person currently in possession of the fabled magical paintbrush, and you are going about your duties one day when suddenly all of the colour vanishes from the world. You find the brush on the floor outside of Chicory's bedroom and you decide to pick it up and provide cover as Chicory appears to be missing in action. After some confusion arises as to whether you are indeed the rightful heir to the brush or not, you find yourself embroiled in a quest to defeat the corruption, the ongoing menace that has taken over Picnic Province. And thus, your adventure begins. Chicory, A Colourful Tale plays like a top-down Zelda in terms of the world's structure, having overworlds and then dungeon-like areas which lead to boss battles. Throughout both overworld and dungeons there are puzzles in one form or another which allow you to progress through the world. As the premise of the story alludes to, colour plays a huge role in the game as you paint the backgrounds or activate certain items through colouring them in with your paintbrush. So why are you painting? Well, first and foremost, you're painting to bring back colour to Picnic Province and defeat the corruption using the magical brush. There is a lot of customisation to the game. For example, you can choose the colour of everything: yourself, other characters, your clothes, their houses, everything. You can also design a restaurant's logo, a t-shirt, even your brush style. There is definitely a lot of designing involved. This designing aspect doesn't only encompass painting, but also placing items which you can obtain in the game. There is one really touching moment where you design a garden for someone who has lost their friend, using plants that you have traded for litter that you've picked up. This element of collecting is present throughout the game as you collect litter, lost children, clothing, furniture and brush styles. As mentioned, there are quite a few puzzle elements to Chicory, A Colourful Tale, using those painting mechanics to solve them. Some items such as mushrooms and plant life are reactive to paint and allow you to be flung into different platforms or access different areas. Simply painting the world can also help you to access these new areas, and this is quite evident early on in the game where you gain the ability to swim through the paint, much like the Inklings in Splatoon are able to. This allows you to squeeze through smaller pathways which are inaccessible to you when you are your normal size. Painting the floor can also uncover secrets such as text giving hints or clues as to how to open certain doors. Although the main game doesn't have enemies, there are boss battles, as I said, with the corruption. In these battles you will have to move to dodge attacks whilst painting to attack yourself and find the boss's weak points. The controls of Chicory are simple to master. When playing in docked, the left stick is to move, right stick moves your cursor, L changes your cursor's size, R is to change the colour of your paint, ZR then paints and ZL erases. When playing in docked you have the option to control the cursor with gyro pointer controls, and when playing in handheld you are able to use the touchscreen, which works fantastically well, and this was my preferred way of playing as it allowed me to paint with a bit more control. Bizarrely, the function of the shoulder and trigger buttons swap when playing in handheld, but simply pressing minus will allow you to reconfigure this should you wish. Cursor mode was fun with both pointer and stick controls, and you are able to turn down the sensitivity of the cursor in the options menu, which was very useful. Just to make it clear, you won't be making a Monet style masterpiece in this game, and the game itself even makes light of this in terms of a short reference from one of the characters, but it sure is fun and you do really get a sense of freedom from just being able to do what you want in terms of the paint. There is also the option to fast travel, and this is really helpful as it is a more time efficient way to get from one area to another, especially once you have uncovered the far reaches of Picnic Province. Overall, the freedom afforded to you and the charm the game exudes make for a really fun experience and offer something different to the usual top-down adventure game format. Gameplay gets 18 out of 20. Controls do what you need them to do for the vast majority of the time, and as I said, I found touch controls in particular nice and accurate, and they also get 18 out of 20. In terms of the visuals, the initial impression given by the monochrome design quickly give way to a vibrant world as you begin to add colour for yourself. Personally, I loved the character designs and the world in general, although it begins looking quite samey due to the aforementioned design choice. As you progress and colour in the areas, you can see just how varied each area is, as different areas have different preset colours. This can seem limited, but I did find it quite useful when looking at the map, as you can then distinguish each area due to its colour scheme. You can also later in the game design a palette with some preset colours of your choice, which post main game made it nice to paint different areas. The colours you choose for the background are entirely up to your personal preference. The game acknowledges you as an artist, and I am sure you are seeing in this footage that we did some exceptional colouring as we played through. Even when sharing dialogue with a character, it was all too tempting to just doodle over the room and make it my own. Performance wise, there were no issues with frame rates during my playthrough, but disappointingly the game did crash on me 3 times. 2 of these times occurred during a visit to a town, which thankfully didn't result in any progress being lost. However, the 3rd time was just as I was about to beat the final boss, which, as I'm sure you can imagine, was very frustrating and resulted in me having to retry the battle again. Options for graphics include an eye strain helper, which tints the screen to warmer colours, and an ability to turn off flashing effects and screen shake. Although colours are the name of the game, you don't have to worry about choosing specific colours for any of the puzzles, which makes the game accessible for anyone who is colourblind. Audio wise, the in-game sounds are appropriate, and you even have the wet sound of paint squelching onto the canvas, but if this is not for you, you can turn this off in the options menu. The music in Chicory, A Colourful Tale, is quite simply phenomenal. The OST has a combination of gentle rhythms for the calmer areas of the game and more intense pieces for areas that require concentration, namely the boss battles. Areas in the Picnic Province have been given a specific tune that kicks in when you enter and makes it all the more memorable. The soundtrack for me was a huge highlight, so much so that during my normal working day, all I could do was hum along to some of the wonderful tracks. The soundtrack for this game was created by Lena Raine, whose previous credits include Celeste, Minecraft and Deltarune. She really has produced some extremely high quality music here, which really brings a sense of whimsy to proceedings which befits the overall aesthetic incredibly well. Visuals are simplistic but are fitting to the theme of the game, although those crashes have affected the score, and visuals including performance get 16 out of 20. Audio is just an absolute delight and elevated the experience to new heights as far as I'm concerned. They get the full 20 out of 20. Chicory, A Colourful Tale costs £17.09 and regional equivalents are on your screen now. For this you are getting an adventure that took me just over 9.5 hours to beat, however that was with a completion rate of 68%. I feel this is a good length of time for a game at this price, especially one of such a high standard, as the other scores show. I only touched on the opening story earlier as I didn't want to spoil anything, but the experience this game brought through the story really did grip me, and I found myself having an emotional attachment to the characters. There are some hard-hitting moments and themes that address some serious issues, such as mental health for example, and I was engrossed throughout, and I even shed a tear every once in a while. The accessibility features I mentioned earlier really do add to the game, making for a more customizable experience, and you can even make adjustments to how many hits you take during a boss fight, or you can skip boss fights completely if you just want to play for the story. I'll give value 1 point for every well spent pound it cost, or conversely you could say it lost 1 point for every time it crashed. Either way though, value scores 17 out of 20. To conclude, Chicory, A Colourful Tale is a heartwarming story which plays out via a fantastic top-down adventure and a fun main mechanic of painting the world to restore colour. The way your paint interacts with the world is very well implemented, and the story, visuals and music all play their part in elevating the gameplay, with the whole experience hooking me in even further into a world that I found an absolute joy to be in. The amount of care and detail that was put into this game really does show, and it has fast become one of my favourite games of 2021. All in all, colour me very impressed. Chicory, A Colourful Tale gets a SwitchUp score of 89%. Thank you everybody for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do remember to leave a like if you did. A huge thank you to Sophie for writing this one for us. I'm sure you'll agree she's done a fantastic job. Please do show your appreciation in the comments section, and more so, please do get yourself over to SafeDex Gaming, link in the top pinned comment as I said, and give some of their content a watch. Perhaps subscribe while you're over there, that would be fantastic. A quick thank you to our Patreons as always for your continued support, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos. If this is the last time I speak to you before the new year, then have a very happy new year, and I will see you again for a video in 2022. Take care, and of course, happy gaming.